The fact that world did not make them feel better about their problem. You see, we talk about Holocaust. The whole world knows about it. We talk about other genocide. The world talks about it. Somehow, history has tried their level best to sort of curb and to sort of suppress what the 4 lakh Kashmiri pandits went through them. But you are our hope. Because as long as there is a person like you who will question, and with you are the millions of younger generation who you will inspire. Because the governments can come and go, the establishments can come and go and sort of not talk about it. Sometimes protecting your children is also an act of hiding the history. So, congratulations to your grandparents and congratulations to your parents for a brave daughter they have brought into this world. I know she is smiling because out of awkwardness, because she did not think that I will praise her courage. She thought I was here to praise her writing. राइटिंग तो अच्छा ही लिखा होगा, सच को लिखने में याद करने की जरूरत नहीं, कोई कला की जरूरत नहीं होती है। जब आदमी सच लिखता है तो वो अपने आप में कहानी होती है। सच की कोई बुनियाद की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती है। सच जो है वो लफ्जों का मोहताज नहीं होता है। मेरी दादी एक कहानी सुनाती थी, वो मुझे आज तक याद है। तो आपने सच लिखा है और ये सच लोगों तक पहुंचाना बहुत ज़रूरी है। तो मैं आपके करेज की, आपकी जो ताकत जो आपने सोचा है और इस किताब को लोगों तक पहुंचाना अब मेरा काम है। Because I'm not telling your stories to the world. I'm telling your story and my story and everybody and millions of Kashmiris all over the world, their story to the world. So congratulations and well done. And we will. You have said take me home. I don't know who have you asked to take you home. Whether you have asked me to take you home or Panditji to take you home or Deepakji to take you home or your mom to take you home. But there will be millions of people who will take you home and celebrate. Taking home is a very symbolic thing, you know. वो कहते हैं कि जी इसको genocide मत बोलो, इसको बोलो they are refugees in their own country or they are migrants. How can you take away the smell of Kashmir, of the homes, of books kept in the shelves, my grandfather's mandir on the 4th floor in Nai Sadak? You can give them the same place, but you can't give them the same environment. My mother still tells me, do you think we will be able to go to Kashmir? But you, not necessarily governments, of course government will do their job, but you and people like you and girls like you and the generation like you are giving me an optimistic look towards the whole thing. Thank you so much. Well done.
Thank
Congratulations.
Anupam sir also to maybe ask her a few questions and then we'll open it up to the media. We'll also just about finish the unveiling of the book and then we will get into the
All those people who are watching us on the Zoom, congratulations to you also. You are a part of this historical event, and also I must applaud your Vitasta publishers for having the courage and conviction to publish this book. That's very important. We among us have the area director of Taj Hotels, Mr. Digvijay Singh, and the general manager of this. I would also like him to join on this unveiling. It's not planned, but he's a very dear friend, and I'm very close to my friends.
और दूसरी चीज यहाँ पर थी, मुझे लगा यहाँ पर ना मैंने HSP कैसी शर्ट पहनी है, अब थ्रू आउट बैठे हुए मुझे पेट अंदर को रखना पड़ेगा, नहीं पेट मुझे निकल जाता है थोड़ा सा, but I'll try to do my best.
मैं पीछे आएगा
ये इम्पोर्टेंट है
मैं थोड़ा आगे वन स्टेप
सब सेंटर में दिखे
लुक क्या
बचपन से तुमको देख रहा हूँ शाबाश एक मेरे कैमरा में भी देख लो जरा यहाँ एक गाइस हियर प्लीज हाँ भाई धन्यवाद सारे रिश्तेदार वहाँ पर हैं अलग-अलग स्थानों पर
सर सोलो दीजिए ना
सर लुक या सर
सर ये नहीं कर रहे आप वाली तरफ ना आपके कैमरे की तरफ
भाई
नहीं यार
अरे कुछ नहीं तो फिल्म में आ रहा है
सर आपका ऑल ऑफ यू लुक
सर लेफ्ट हाँ डोंट बोल दो भाई आ रहे हैं सर
दोस्तों
सर मेरे लिए
सर आपके पहले इवेंट से स्टार्ट
पंडितों से शुरू है लकी है
वेरी गुड सीरियसली
थैंक यू
30 साल से सुनता रहा आवाज है और 1.5 साल पहले बंद हो आवाज अच्छी सर जी यहाँ पर सर जी यहाँ पर
सर आपके राइट में सर
आगे देखिए
मैडम
ये साइड में
आपका ही सिंगल
चलो
इस तरफ आइए
आप भी जाओ ना
This.
Right. So I've always wanted to know more about Kashmir, but I never really got the opportunity to know more about my Kashmiri Pandit roots. And the opportunity then finally came up for a school project. So there's something called the personal project that we do in the MYP, and you need to do something that's personal to you. And the only thing I could think of that I was curious about and that was personal to me was the Kashmiri Pandit exodus and the roots, because I was very passionate about it. So I knew that I would devote my 100% to it. And I remember having a conversation with my father, and I was 14 at this point. And I was sitting with him and discussing some ideas.
And you're 47 right now.
No, I'm 16 now.
So you were saying 14 as if you were 5, 10, 20 years back.
Right. It wasn't that long ago. But I was sitting and having a conversation with my father about potential ideas for my personal project. And I said, what if I do something related to the Kashmiri Pandit exodus? And his expression just changed. He was shocked. He was like, okay. He took some time to process, and then he's like, what do you want to do about it? Like, why are you doing this? Because I don't think it ever struck him that this was something you could do something about. Unfortunately, his generation, I mean, the generation between my grandparents and my generation have been very devoted to sort of resettling after the exodus and working on becoming successful and establishing their lives, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I always thought that we could have done more, their generation and even my generation. So I think that's where the entire idea came, and then he liked it, and then we took it forward from there.
So did your grandparents talk about what happened in Kashmir? Were they talking about it at home?
Initially, no. The entire, like my entire childhood, I'm still a child. For most of my childhood, no. Only when I started doing this and I told them I'm writing a book and I need you to be 100% honest.
So till then you had no idea what was the history of your...
No. I just knew we were from Kashmir and they had left because of some violence in Kashmir. The very basic. I genuinely was very clueless, and I understand why, because it would reopen some wounds for them, like talking about...
No, don't explain to me what you understand. I'm just trying to understand. So you felt that there was some violence in the Kashmir और छोड़ के आ गए यहाँ पर?
Yeah.
बहुत सारे riot areas में भी छोड़ के चले आते हैं लोग.
Yeah.
बहुत सारे जगहों पे जहाँ पे natural disaster होते हैं छोड़ के चले जाते हैं. So आपके लिए ये कहानी.
That was basically.
And this subject was given to you by the school people or you chose it?
I chose the Kashmiri Pandit.
So how did you? That's what I was asking.
Right. So, for the longest time, I couldn't find, my personal project idea, and so I was googling, how do you find it? And they're like, think of your identity. And the first thing that came to my mind about my identity was Kashmiri, but I didn't know anything after that. What about Kashmir? What more? कुछ पता ही नहीं था. So that's when I was like, you know what? Maybe I should do something about this because I don't know anything. I know I'm a Kashmiri, but what does that mean? What does that symbolize? And so this was my journey of sort of understanding my Kashmiri Pandit roots, simply because I just didn't know anything about them.
So what is the research that you did to write this book? How did that? It's a fiction.
It's not a fictitious book. It's just a retelling of the story from my perspective.
So who did you interview to get the details of this?
So I interviewed practically all of the Kashmiri Pandits I knew. I just wanted to get as much of a detailed understanding of the Exodus as possible. Everybody's story will be a little different, but the underlying theme of, just the hope of coming back home was shared throughout all of those people I interviewed. I'll say most of those people, not all, most of the people that I interviewed. And so I interviewed quite a lot of people, and even Ashok uncle to get, to get a better understanding of the Exodus. I remember we'd gone to meet Ashok uncle for the first time, and I sat in that club and I pressed record on my phone, and he just spoke for 2 hours. And how those 2 hours flew by, I didn't even know, because I was just so taken aback by everything that had happened. And so I interviewed practically everybody I knew. I interviewed a lot of members from my family, friends, people who my family knew, abroad. So Kashmiri Pandit associations and, just communities, let's say in Boston, because I have some family there. So I practically, just to get a better understanding, interviewed whoever I could find over a course of a few months. And then, my other research included just watching as many videos and reading as many articles about Kashmir and its context, and just try and absorb as much information as I can, so then I can sort of filter out what exactly needs to be said and how it needs to be said. So just get as much of a holistic understanding as possible.
So you're the author of the book. Okay? You are just the father now.
I'm just the MC today.
MC today. So, does it make you angry when this story of Kashmiri Pandits is being suppressed and given in? Recently, there was an article in Hindi Daily, very well known Hindi Daily, where the author tried to sort of say, "Arey Kashmiri Panditon mein to naukriyan thi." There was a reference of me also there. He tries to give a false perspective about this whole thing. Does it anger you?
It does, because you can't, it's actual trauma that people have been through. You can't try to simplify it or suppress it or say that it didn't happen, because it is a very traumatic event, but also because I'm taking this stand, I know that I can't let those emotions get to me. I need to be calm and composed and always think about what I'm going to say and how I'm going to say it, especially, right now. So as much as I feel those emotions, I try my best not to let them get the best of me, and to just try and look at it as objectively as possible.
So can we have a chapter from you to read, or you think very passionately about? Would you like to read something for us?
Okay. Just because I want everybody to read the book for themselves, I shall read my preface for you, so you get a better understanding of what this book truly is about. And then we can go from there.
I thought you will read my foreword, but it's okay.
You want me to read it?
No, silly. It's yours.
Okay. So here it goes. Where are you from? It's a question I have been asked many times. Each time I answer Kashmir. The next question is usually about when I last visited Kashmir. Truth is, I've never been to Kashmir despite being a Kashmiri Pandit. I became more curious with the ticking of the clock. Why have I never been to Kashmir? Why do I have to hear stories of my homeland from other people? Why do I feel like something is missing? When I turned 14, I decided to set out on a journey of self-exploration. And this book is exactly that. An exploration of my family, my community, and my home. Learning more about the Exodus and the true meaning of being a Kashmiri Pandit inspired me to share my knowledge with others. Simply because nobody deserves to be a refugee in their own country. We all deserve to go and feel safe in our homes. Through this book, I hope you can understand the pain and the resilience of the Kashmiri Pandit community. We have been fighting the battle of our lives since 1990. I hope that you will understand the story of the Exodus, its devastating impact, and the importance of unity. The community has needed the support of the rest of India since 1990. How heartbreaking is it that many people living in India do not know about the conflict that took place in their own country? They do not know about the suffering of Kashmiri Pandits after the mass exodus, and they do not know the injustice the Kashmiri Pandit community has faced and continues to face. I promise to do my part. The profits earned from this book will be used to fund the education of displaced Kashmiri Pandit children. But do you promise to do your part? I hope you will help a community that has been neglected for the last 3 decades. A community that has only spread love, kindness, and positivity despite having been treated unfairly, violently, and disrespectfully. Most of all, I hope the reader understands the importance of treating everyone equally and with kindness. Thank you.
Very good, excellent. Thank you. You can't even. This is something which breaks my heart, and so does it break the hearts of a lot of people. I was going through your introduction also. Once upon a time, there was an inquisitive, talkative, and innocent 6-year-old girl. Her entire life, she was told that Srinagar in the state of Jammu and Kashmir was her home. Albeit, she did not know what that meant because she had never been there. So she asked a lot of questions. One day, that naive girl, unaware of the water she was treading, gathered the courage to go and ask her grandmother about her home. With complete confidence and certainty that one day she will go to Kashmir, the girl sat on the floor and asked her grandmother, who was sipping steaming kava, "When will we go to Kashmir, Nani?" Giving the young girl a cold stare as if in an attempt to hide her broken expression, the grandmother kept her kava aside, got up, and walked away, leaving the girl more puzzled than ever. And this is a scenario, this is a scene which must have happened in all the Kashmiri people homes. Film is a great medium of anything which reaches larger audience. I'm sure we will try and make sure that this book reaches to a lot of people. Do you have any plans of selling the rights of this book for a film production?
I haven't thought of that much yet because I never expected this to be as big as it has become.
So I'm asking you a question.
Yeah.
Have you thought of that?
I mean,
willing to?
I would be willing to because.
Would you please sell me the rights of this?
Of course.
So, I, as a production company, is in front of all my friends, want the rights of this book, and we will make a movie out of it. I have to follow my philosophy of life, kuch bhi ho sakta hai. And I had not planned, I swear I had not planned that before I coming here. But seeing your compassion and seeing your passion, I think this story needs to go on screen. And you will have the choice to find the girl who can act that way.
Thank you so much.
You do the casting of the girl. Thank you, Anushka. Thank you so much, and wonderful, both of you and people, grandparents, and everybody. And to millions of Kashmiris all over the world, there is always hope because we believe in hope. Because I feel hope is the heart of life, and we never want to give that up. None of us picked up guns. None of us indulge in any kind of act of terrorism because we believe in life and we believe in hope and we believe in Anushka Dhar that someday somebody like her will write a book and someday somebody like me will want to make a film on that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
देखा कि बहुत ध्यान से आप बुक देख रहे थे तो माइक ऑन करो ऐसे पूछ लो कोई बात हेलो पूछ लो आवाज जान कि आप मैंने देखा बहुत ही ध्यान से आप बुक देख रहे थे क्योंकि हम तो आप मानते हैं कि कश्मीरी पंडितों के साथ में जो कुछ भी हुआ है, जो कुछ भी हुआ, तो और ढेर सारी फिल्में आनी चाहिए और इस बुक पर भी फिल्म बननी चाहिए, ऐसा आपका कॉन्टेक्ट है?
ये मैंने तो अभी बोला, मैंने तो इसके राइट्स खरीद लिए, खरीद नहीं लिए अभी तो, मतलब ले लिए। तो और मैं इनको 500 रुपये दे भी देता हूँ। एक्सोडस पर अगर नाज़ीज़ जूस के वर्ल्ड वॉर के और हिटलर की जो ट्रीटमेंट थी ऑफ जूस, अगर उस पर हजारों फिल्में बन सकती हैं तो इसके बहुत फिल्में, मैंने एक फिल्म में अभी रिसेंटली काम किया कश्मीरी फाइल्स, और बननी चाहिए। बट उससे ज़्यादा ज़रूरी आज का जो इवेंट है वो इनकी किताब की और इनकी शाबाशी के लिए है, not to sort of talk about the film or anything like that. Right now we must celebrate कि किताब इन्होंने लिखी है और वो सेलिब्रेशन वाली बात है। बाकी तो आपके जरिए ये कहानी जानी चाहिए और हर एक को, तुमको कसम है सबको, ये किताब की पब्लिसिटी बहुत करनी है, चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए, बिकॉज ये 16 साल की बच्ची ने किताब लिखी है और ऐसी चीज़ के बारे में लिखी जिसको इसको कुछ पता ही नहीं था। और हम तो पिछले 35 साल से आप हम लोगों को देख रहे हैं, but girl like her, she needs encouragement so that she encourages a lot of people all over the world.
हाल ही में आपकी माताजी को हमने एक वीडियो देखा था, आप शिमला गए थे, तो जब आप अपने होम टाउन जाते हैं तो क्या कुछ याद?
मेरी माताजी का होम टाउन तो कश्मीर है। जिस दिन मैं उनको लेके जाऊंगा ना, जिस दिन मैं कहूँगा, वो मुझे हमेशा बोलती है टाइटल इनका है, बोलती वो है कि टेक मी होम। जिस दिन वो मैं कर पाऊंगा उस दिन मेरे लिए बहुत बड़ी उपलब्धि होगी। हाँ, वो सारी जिंदगी शिमला में रही है, मैं शिमला में पैदा हुआ हूँ, पर जिस दिन हम सब लोग, अशोक जी, मैं, दीपक जी, ऐसे बहुत सारे लोग जो यहाँ जुड़े हुए हैं जूम, और बहुत सारे लोग जो नहीं जुड़े हैं, जिस दिन हम अपने घर वालों को ले जाएंगे, मैं बताता हूँ, एक होटल में रह रहे हैं इस समय, होटल में इवेंट कर रहे हैं, होटल में भी हमको कोई 10 दिन रखता है तो दिल करता है यार घर जाके मैं सूखी दाल रोटी खाऊं। हालांकि ये ताज वाले सब चीज़ों का ख्याल रखते हैं, घर वाले घर की सूखी रोटी भी खिला सकते हैं, बट यू हैव टू बी in the situation of Kashmiri Pandits to know what it is to not going back. Okay.
Hi Anushka. First of all, congratulations. ये कोशिश भी करना ऐसे मुद्दे पर बुक लिखने की या बात करने की बहुत बड़ी बात है, और इतनी कम एज में ऐसी कोशिश करना। जब हम कश्मीर के बारे में सुनते हैं या कश्मीरी पंडित के बारे में सोचते हैं तो हमारी रूह कांप जाती है, हम एक डर से जाते हैं, सहम से जाते हैं, हमने कभी देखा नहीं है ये सब सामने से। लेकिन जब आप लिख रही थी तो क्या क्या एक्सपीरियंस था आपका, क्या कुछ आप फील कर रही थी?
Especially in the research process, जब मैं देख रही थी, when I was reading, when I was watching videos, when I was speaking to victims of the survivors of the Exodus, that time I was just in a state of shock. I think, and that was to an extent where I couldn't feel any emotions. I was just like, did this really happen? It was honestly for like a period of a few months I was in shock until I started understanding and comprehending the gravity of this entire issue and of the Exodus itself. And when I was writing, if I would ever get emotional, because even my family has been through this, right? People I know, people I love have been through this. I would just step back from the book because I knew that I need to write this in a very objective, calm, and thought-out manner. And I know emotions can make you, very overwhelmed. And it was overwhelming at some times. I'm not going to lie to you and say that, it was very easy. I didn't feel anything because I did. And sometimes I had tears in my eyes, but I would just take a step back from the book and come back to it when I could think in a more clearer manner. But it was definitely emotional. But yeah, and I hope this makes you emotional as well, because the Kashmiri Pandit community has been through a lot. And I think when you read it and understand it, you yourself will be in a state of shock as well. So yeah, thank you.
अनुज, हम इंडस्ट्री में हैं और इंडस्ट्री का कितना इम्पैक्ट हम सभी जानते हैं। हम पॉलिटिकल कहा जाए कैंपेन्स का हिस्सा बनते हैं, ब्रांड्स के कुछ पैसों के हम प्रमोशंस करते हैं, जानवरों की हम बात करते हैं। हम बेशक हमें प्यार करना चाहिए जानवरों से, उन्हें सपोर्ट करना चाहिए, उनकी बातों का हिस्सा बनना चाहिए। लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं ऐसा नहीं लगता इंडस्ट्री कहीं ना कहीं कश्मीरी पंडितों को लेकर आवाज़ उठाने में हमेशा पीछे रही है। जो लोग कश्मीर से बिलोंग करते हैं उन्होंने थोड़ी आवाज उठाई, अदरवाइज जो बॉलीवुड की बहुत सारी
अशोक जी ने एक फिल्म बनाई थी शीन, अगर आपकी बात सही है, और अभी रिसेंटली मैंने जैसा कि कहा कि फिल्म में बन रही है कश्मीर फाइल्स, उसमें काम किया है। बट देखिए, जब दुनिया मतलब देश के लोग इस कहानी को छुपाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, तो फिर कभी कभी कहते हैं कि कोई बात नहीं, कुछ चीज़ें देर से बनती हैं। अब ये जनरेशन में होप है दिखा रही है, हमें उम्मीद दिखा रही है, तो कुछ चीज़ें नहीं होती हैं और जो उनका टाइम निकलता है। बट एज लॉन्ग एज देयर आर पीपल लाइक मी, अदर पीपल, आवाज़ तो हमने पूरी ज़िंदगी उठाई है, पिछले 30 साल से आवाज़ तो उठाते हैं हम बाकी दिन ट्रेंड करें ना करें, लेकिन 19 जनवरी को हम हमेशा ट्रेंड करते हैं और हम कोशिश करते हैं। हम इस जख्म को भरने नहीं देंगे, हम इसको हर खोलते रहेंगे, इसको रेतते रहेंगे, चाहे हमें तकलीफ हो, दर्द हो, लेकिन कुछ जख्मों को खुला रखना बहुत ज़रूरी है, तो दुनिया को दिखाना बहुत ज़रूरी है। बस बेटा, आज की सभा यही समाप्त करनी चाहिए, बिकॉज अभी सवाल इधर उधर चलते चले जाएंगे। यस मैम, सॉरी।
सर एक आखिरी सवाल आपकी इजाजत से।
अगर किताब से जुड़ा हुआ तो जरूर।
सर बेशक किताब से जुड़ा हुआ है।
अच्छा।
So with your due permission,
Of course.
congratulations Anushka and the book के लिए। खेर सर, अशोक सर नमस्ते। सर ये बुक के लिए आप आए हैं यहाँ पर, लेकिन कश्मीर की जब बात होती है, आप प्रमुख चेहरे बनते हैं, अशोक साहब आप भी प्रमुख चेहरे बनते हैं। सर धारा 370-35A के बाद अब हम देख रहे हैं हालात सुधर रहे हैं, और अब देखिए सर, अगर गवर्नमेंट की अगर सर्वे के हिसाब से बात की जाए तो 60,000 से ज्यादा कश्मीरी पंडित हैं, लेकिन बचे कितने हैं? केवल 4-4.5 सर आपको लगता है अब हालात सुधर रहे हैं? विल पीपल गो बैक टू द वैली, वो अपने जगह जाएंगे? सर जिस तरह आप जिक्र कर रहे थे, आप अपनी माता जी को भी लेकर जाना चाहेंगे सर? सर उम्मीद की किरण जग रही है, क्या कहना चाहेंगे सर?
तो लेट आई। इस सवाल का जवाब मैंने शुरुआत में दे दिया।
माफी चाहूंगी सर।
नहीं कोई बात नहीं। अनुष्का की किताब है ना, ये किताब ही तुम्हारे सवाल का जवाब है। ये जनरेशन, इस उम्र की बच्ची इस किताब के द्वारा तुम्हारे विजुअल्स और तुम्हारे जेनोसाइड का बखान करती है और पूरा हिस्ट्री तुम्हारे सामने लेके आती है। इसकी जो भूख है, इसकी जो प्यास है, इसके अंदर जो दर्द दुख है, वापस लौटने का ही है। और ये बच्ची रिप्रेजेंट करती है पूरी कौम को, ये किताब सिंबलाइज करती है पूरी कौम को, पूरे विक्टिम्स को, और आह्वान करती है ये किताब वापस लौटने के। ये किताब अनाउंस कर रही है कि वी आर रिटर्निंग बैक, इट टेक मी होम कह रही है, लेकिन ये किताब के थ्रू शी इज आल्सो टोल्ड द वर्ल्ड टुडे, इसने देश दुनिया से कहा है कि मैं आ रही हूँ वापस। ये कॉल वैल्यू है, रिकॉल वैल्यू है, वापस जाने का अनाउंसमेंट है। सिंपल सी लाइन, टेक मी होम, अब मुझे घर आने जाना वापस, तो एज सिंपल एज दैट।
मुद्दे लाख बुरा चाहे तो क्या होता है, होता है जब मंजूर खुदा होता है। हम सब उम्मीद पे डिपेंड करते हैं, जैसे कि मैंने कहा कि उम्मीद सबसे बड़ी चीज़ है। और चाहिए हमको आज़ाद होने में 100 साल लग गए, 200 साल लग गए, 800 साल गुलाम रहे हैं, बट ये वक्त भी निकल जाएगा। बहुत अच्छा है, मैं उम्मीद से रखता हूँ। होप, लेट्स कीप आवर होप अलाइव, एंड थैंक यू अनुष्का वंस अगेन फॉर राइटिंग दिस बुक। वेरी हम्बल्ड, we might be older than you, much more experienced than you, but people like you encourage us to be hopeful about life.
Thank you so much for supporting me.
Of course, thank you very much. Thank you दोस्तों, आप कुछ बोलना चाहें?
सर जैसा कि आपने जिक्र किया, जब बात होती है 30 साल पहले की, करीब 21 साल हो गया, 1990 की बात है, उस वक्त हमेशा बात होती थी कि प्रशासन कमजोर था, उन्होंने
बेटा अभी नहीं करेंगे। आपको वो बाइट जो आप चाहते हो अंदर में वो दूंगा भी नहीं। नहीं, किताब बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है। हाँ, Zoom audience.
India is asking, first question is for Anushka. What were the challenges of writing this book?
I think the biggest challenge for me would have been to get people to understand the Kashmiri Pandit community's story, because a lot of people just tend to overlook it. they tend to normalize the trauma that they have been through. And I think just conveying the gravity itself of the issue, because people don't understand it. They automatically overlook it. It's almost become an instinct now. This happened, okay, fine. But so I think just getting people to understand that this happened, and it happened with such intensity, like the magnitude of this event itself, I think that was a challenge for me. And another challenge for me, I guess, would have been researching, because there are so many sources, there are so many people who say different things. So, and I wanted to capture the Kashmir Pandit perspective. See, I can go on and on and on about, you talk about different perspectives. So I think just looking or finding the sources that embody and accurately convey the Kashmir Pandit perspective.
So, sir, the next question is for you. Are there any stories, so basically stories and books as a part to influence anybody as a person? What are some of the books that have made an impact on you?
Oh, plenty. I can proudly say that unfortunately I've stopped reading now since this. I got a classic which was about 14 years back. Somehow strangely, मैं ऐसे पढ़ता था, but I had a collection of 14,000 books. Personal connection. Unfortunately, in 2005, when the floods came, that whole library went haywire. Lust for Life, Prince Van Gogh's story during my struggle days was a very important book for me. There's another book by a Russian author called Nikolai Ostrovsky. The book was called How the Steel Was Tempered. Charlie Chaplin's autobiography was very, very important. मुंशी प्रेमचंद जी की कहानियाँ, चेखव की कहानियाँ पढ़ने से आपका जो होराइजन बढ़ता है. जैसे एक अंधेरी रात में एक काले कोट वाला आदमी एक लैंप के नीचे खड़ा हुआ और उसने सिगरेट सुलगाई. ये कहानी आपने किताब में पढ़ी है लाइन. हर एक की रात अलग होगी, हर एक का लैंप अलग होगा, काले कोट अलग होगा. But the moment you see it on television, it will be one person's point of view. So it has, books have helped me a lot as an actor, and I love to read as much as I can. And I used to pick up books from all those जो पीछे जो सड़क पे लगती है. I've got my best collection of books from दरियागंज में जो पीछे बाजार लगता है.
Do you plan on writing any fiction books in the future? Non-fiction, non-fiction.
मुझे fiction I'm not trained to sort of write. I'm not a writer by profession or by any of this thing. I can't write books which I have not experienced. So the books that I wrote are the books that came from within me. Yes. I think we should now. Without the MC, I can end the paper. Thank you very much, friends. Do you want to say something?
I just like to thank everyone for coming, and I'd like to thank you and Ashok uncle for supporting me and for being here. Thank you so much.
Can I announce the lunch, sir? The lunch is ready, my friends. This is our first autograph, huh?
Yeah.
For the book. Anushka Dhar writes Take Me Home, and I am so proud to be part of this book. It's wonderful. Thank you so much, Anushka, for writing this book about the exodus of Kashmiri Pandits. A 14-year-old girl starts writing about it, and she's 16, and she's written this amazing book. Friends, go and pick up this book now.
Thank you so much.
Sir, heat है book sir.
Huh?
Heat है.
अरे जियो मेरे लाल.
भाई कितना